podcast. We make a darn good team. It always goes without a hitch. Let's head to Twitch and go start up the stream. Do you want to do a podcast? It's the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Let's start now. Hi everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Come?
All right, I'll do my own bit for myself.
Oh wait, no silence.
We're doing it. Get off the road.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. It is Tuesday night, and it is time for me, Boater.
And Dave Mann.
So, Dave, I apologize tonight. I know that I'm gonna be kind of low energy. It's been a really long day for me. For lunch today, I ate a wristwatch. It was very
Ooh.
time-consuming.
Bravo.
It was so delicious. I went back for seconds. Too far? Too far.
Where did you find the time?
I found the joke on Facebook, so you know.
Bam.
Oh, well done. Well, see, that's the thing. I'm so tired. I didn't even recognize you were adding to the pun. Oh my God. So yes, everybody. What actually happened was that I started a brand new job yesterday. So I'm learning a new job, which is exhausting, and the job involves being outside. So if you can see past the color balance, I am very red. And it has been over 90 degrees outside the past couple days, so I am exhausted. Dave is going to lead most of the discussion. I am going to do the equivalent of when I talk in my sleep, which apparently at some point in the last week, Steph said when she was getting up in the morning, I was like, and stay down. Apparently I got in a fight with someone. I don't know.
I have a similar experience where a good friend of this program and channel, Geek for All, can attest to the fact that I indefinitely at one point in our working career had a really bad concussion and didn't know it, because one morning they just couldn't get me to wake up, and finally I just sat up and I went, the elephants are purple, man. It's okay. It's okay. And I went like back to bed, and Joe immediately went and got like camp doctor.
The talking in my sleep one that I remember the most, although and stay down will definitely enter the halls of that, was that it was a bunch of us pretty much all crammed into a small apartment for a filming weekend. And
Yeah.
I was just like just sleeping on the floor next to a computer desk, and in the morning someone went to get in the computer desk and the chair kind of squeaked right behind me, and I rolled over. I said, "That's what I thought you said." And I rolled back over.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's going to be the equivalent of me piping in on anything that Dave brings up. So, Dave, with that ample forewarning to Vladdy93, more like Rigor Mortis, and everyone else who is watching, what is first? Do we want to talk about how we kind of dodged a bullet with our multi-streaming?
Yes, because Boater, I've got revolutionary and good news. Insane Games TV is now going to be on Twitch and Mix and Facebook and YouTube. Huh?
Huh?
Three out of four ain't bad.
And
considering
Miss
the fourth
Facebook.
one lit on fire, capsized, and then got lit on fire again, and then blew up, and then Ninja was there, but then it was still on fire, and now. And now
Yes.
Facebook Gaming.
So announced yesterday, Microsoft is shutting down Mixer. And all of the partner agreements and stuff that they have will be going to Facebook Gaming, which will be honoring those contracts. Not outright. They say something like to the best of their match all existing partner agreements as closely as possible.
They're not paying Ninja and Shroud the millions of dollars they still are owed on their contracts.
I'm sure.
Just that's
So,
that's
so
really
how did we get here? Let's talk about how we got to the point where Mixer shut down. What is Mixer? Because you can't be blamed if you have no idea what Mixer is. Mixer, did it start independent or was it always operated by Microsoft?
I believe it was always operated by Microsoft under
Microsoft made it, and I won't necessarily say that they made it so that the Xbox One could have its own dedicated streaming service, but certainly if you have an Xbox One and you wanted to stream, streaming to Mixer was buttery smooth. Streaming to anything else, well, good luck. So, excuse me. Um, and so Microsoft had a streaming platform. Um, that's what Mixer is. It's a streaming platform like Twitch, just not nearly as big, not with the same name recognition, not with the same years of infrastructure to get to where they are.
it. So Mixer was originally a third party,
Okay.
but within the year, it seems like it was created for exactly what happened. Two dudes in a garage made a thing and then went to a gaming expo and went to Microsoft and said, "By the way, we've got this streaming service," and Microsoft literally went, "We'll take it."
Probably Microsoft was like, we should do a streaming service. Leak the word to someone to put in some of the hard work for us first, and then we'll just buy it out from them.
Yep. This was a case of Microsoft getting into an already very turgid and busy pool and doing what a lot of big companies do when they
Not
try
just
to strike
Microsoft,
it
yeah.
rich.
So a lot of
on large
companies
ideas.
have done this. Like, there's a website dedicated to the Google graveyard. Um, things that Google has done. Google Wave comes to mind. Like
Oh,
older versions of Google
Wave.
Voice. Things that they've done where they're like, hey, we're gonna do this thing. It's not a core product, and if it's surprisingly successful, it will become a core product, but otherwise it becomes a side project, and then someone gets promoted to somewhere else in the company and it's not their baby anymore and it gets shut down.
Inevitably, someone leaves a toaster plugged in over the weekend, and they come in and they're like, "You're costing us too much. You're out."
Well, no, I don't think that there was any non NDA with it, but at one point in one of my previous video jobs, we had a client that fell out of communication for a bit, and a couple months later, when we were like, "Poke, poke, are you still there?" Because we tried that a few times. Eventually, we got someone else who was like, "That person is no longer with the company, and we will not be pursuing that video project." That's the
Ooh.
thing, is that like pet projects are a thing, and I think that Mixer was bigger than a pet project. Certainly, Google Stadia will be in the graveyard soon. Yikes.
What do you mean? Google Stadia is now doing free games for everyone to please play Google Stadia. Please, please.
Um, but yeah, and so like Microsoft has done this before as well. They I would say as much as I liked it, they went ham on Windows Phone for a couple years, but didn't put what they should have behind it to really make it as a primary thing. It had its niche. I I adored it when in Windows Phone 8 days, but then Windows Phone 10, someone was like, let's make it more like Android. And then there was no reason to do Windows Phone when you already had Android doing everything better,
Yep.
especially apps.
I will always miss my Kin 2M phone. Not Kim 2N. And it was a Microsoft product, and I loved that phone.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great starter smartphone. There were so many things it could do, but you didn't have to do them.
Yep.
Like, it was a smartphone that you would want someone who doesn't necessarily want to use all these features or install apps or things like that. I miss that thing. and it was so buttery I could spin it in my hand like a
I
jackass.
miss the I miss the Nokia Lumia 920 that I had.
Oh,
And like
what a beautiful
it
phone.
did wireless. It was wireless charging, so it spoiled me with wireless charging. All my phones now, I'm like, it's great. I just drop it on there, it's fine. But like this has a glass back. It cracked. I replaced it. It cracked again. Whereas the Nokia had like a polycarb thing that was just I dropped it. It dented. Whatever. It's fine. But Microsoft didn't push in on Windows Phone hard enough, and same thing with Mixer. They made some moves. They signed some big names. And I don't really know what they could have done because the problem that people have with video hosting going up against YouTube is that YouTube is where everyone is. It's where the community is. It's where the discoverability is. Everything like that. Um, and uh, yeah, sometimes you drop the phone, but it doesn't quite sit on the charger right. It's fine. It's fine. Um, oh damn! I just did that thing where I was tired and I got sidetracked. What was I saying? I'm sure it was important. Um,
It
oh,
was about
becau-
what they could have done.
yes, because like when places try to compete with YouTube, they can't because YouTube is the big one that's there, has all the discoverability. And so when someone tries to do something to compete with Twitch, they can't because everyone's on Twitch. And it ties in so well for communities to go back and forth. When we're done, we could go raid another channel, we can host another channel, whatever. There is no cross compatibility to make to say Ninja's channel on Mixer. And so Mixer ended up getting shut down. There was another thing too, is that I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was a bit of a brouhaha with stuff that was said by some of the executives.
The executive's exact words was to, in a joking manner, you know, as high-ranking executives should, refer to literally everyone in the company, including the streamers, as slaves.
Cool. Okay. So
Yeah,
so rest in
super
peace,
smart
Mixer.
verbiage.
You're dead. We're done with you.
Um,
So yes. The Facebook Gaming will honor the contract. Will do their best to honor the contracts. Demon Dragon points out that Facebook Gaming doesn't have exclusivity, so if the big names want to go back to Twitch, they can. That said, some of the people that went to Mixer were because they were kicked off of Twitch. And that was like their backup platform. So with Mixer out now, will they be welcomed back with open arms? You know, I'm sure Twitch would love to have Ninja back. Some others, maybe. But you know, Facebook Gaming. And let's talk Facebook Gaming a bit. Dave, do you follow anyone that's on Facebook Gaming?
I follow Insane Games TV on Facebook Gaming.
Okay, almost doesn't count, but good point.
And I also I actually only follow one other person, and it's someone that you could talk more at length about.
Yeah, so more like Rigor Mortis, Sleepy Citadel is going to be so interesting. I don't know if Citadel is going to happen. Spoiler. But we'll see. Maybe we're gonna go all in. Maybe we're just gonna go all in for an hour of Sleepy Citadel. We'll see. Anyway, yes. So Panzer or Trade Chat is on Facebook Gaming, and she's someone that left Twitch, after some disagreements with them. I think that she looked at Mixer, may have looked. No, she did a little bit with YouTube's live streaming, and then Facebook Gaming was like, "Hey, we're starting a thing. You want in?" And she's had nothing but good things to say about it. It's been great for her. Now, Facebook Gaming is a bit different in that it ties in more to Facebook than with community interaction between different communities. So, like, I could be browsing Facebook and I see, oh, Trade Chat went live. Um, and uh, it's Trade Chat went live. I'll go ahead and watch her as she's doing whatever in Animal Crossing today. Um, but it doesn't have the capability of going. Well, it does have the capability of going to just like a Facebook gaming landing page, like there is with Twitch, or like I can just see which of my channels is online, whatever. But it's not front and center. Um, and as long as it's Facebook gaming and not spun off into its own thing, that's a question. What if Microsoft sold Mixer to Facebook and all of Facebook gaming went to Mixer and used that interface and tied things in so that you would maybe, I don't know, like
The-
there's a lot of basically Facebook gaming as a website to go to watch gaming live streams as a central place to do that doesn't really exist in an easy way to see. It is part of Facebook. You go to your news
Yes.
feed, you're interacting with friends, you're um you know shaking your head at a 5-year-old meme that your aunt is sharing, and you get a notification that someone you're following has gone live.
It goes into that whole idea of Dan in chat. Facebook gaming could be much more organized, better dashboard. It could be huge. It could be, because it's the same idea of like anytime people go Twitch versus YouTube. Well, obviously YouTube's going to win because it is. Everyone has made a YouTube at one point or another, even if they don't use it. Just
Mhm.
as Facebook, so many people have dusty Facebooks that they don't even use, but Facebook counts those numbers regardless in
Yeah.
their user base. So it would make, and the other thing is that like Mixer's UI was really bad.
Yeah.
Anytime in the store we would go to broadcast Ninja onto one of the store screens, because him and Shroud were the only reason we would go to Mixer.
Mhm.
It was clunky, and we were on Microsoft computers, and the
Yeah.
UI on Mixer would fight with um not to say we used Microsoft Edge or
Right.
Internet Explorer, but like if you're fighting with Google Chrome, your coding is bad. You can't blame Chrome.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
I think it'll be a smart idea for YouTube gaming or for Facebook gaming, or YouTube gaming, to try to grab Ninja if they can, because he's enough still. Even with it's the argument of every superstar in a sports team or a big author or things like that. Well, what are they doing next? What's the next project? Where are they going? Well, the name itself means so much, like more than it is to anything else. Mixer got so much attention, not from even one Ninja stream, but just from having Ninja do that promo where he was in this green room that he was like, "I'm on Mixer now," and dropped the mic. Mixer got so much more out of that than anything else, and Twitch. I mean, if I was an executive of Twitch, I would absolutely pick up the phone if Ninja calls, but I would not, under any circumstance, try to scramble to pick up that man's bar tab to bring him back over to Twitch. He's going to come back to Twitch whenever this foray is over. Dan, you could see Twitch saying no to Ninja coming back. That would be.
Twitch could afford to say no to Ninja.
Oh yeah, because Ninja needs a format now. Twitch doesn't need Ninja anymore. They have just from looking at numbers of like their other things, Twitch Live, which is just literally whatever Twitch wants it to be, does better than it has in years past, which is so good for them and really good for small content creators like Boaterbug and DAM314 and Insane Games TV. Just saying.
More like Rigor Mortis asks, are any of these platforms better with their anti-harassment, anti-hate speech protocol and enforcement?
The only platform that has any of those things in an active format is Facebook.
Yeah.
Because it goes along. It's because Facebook gaming is in Facebook.
Yep.
So that's it. Twitch, I will say, they have rules enforcement and code enforcement. But if you wear a big gold belt on Twitch, you kind of get away with a lot of stuff. And YouTube, well, YouTube still pays PewDiePie. So let's
Yeah. I mean, from what I understand, one of Trade Chat's issues with Twitch, and I could be getting this wrong, so please don't take my word for it, was that she was facing a lot of harassment on there. Like there would be people watching her streams and reporting her for the smallest thing, um, while and all relying on bad faith reports doing that. When frankly most people get away with a hell of a lot more, especially when you're a really big creator. And so yeah, Facebook enforces their Facebook terms of service. Um, and while I can't say that a huge multinational corporation will do so fairly, they try to do so more fairly than others.
Facebook especially is also under the auspice of, you know what I don't need anymore? Facebook. I have Instagram.
Instagram's owned by Facebook.
I know, but I don't need Facebook. But the problem is that Instagram doesn't have as much of an opportunity for them to advertise and make ad revenue
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
So if all of us hold on, let me just. If all of us youths leave Facebook, they'll have nothing. The other thing is the idea that, like Boater, think about it. If you go on Facebook right now, if anyone, more like Rigor Mortis, Dan, Demon Dragon, Vladdy, if any of you scroll through Facebook, you know who's using Facebook a lot? A demographic that doesn't know what a Twitch, a Mixer, or even a YouTube is.
Yeah, that's fair. It is a different demographic, but does that mean that it's a demographic that you're going to reach anyway?
Can you imagine?
Like again, I'm gonna say, Aunt Ethel posting the 5-year-old memes. She's not in the market for live streamed gameplay. People that are in the market for live streamed gameplay go to Twitch.
Yeah, but imagine we're now gonna have the Facebook, the Google, the Nintendo, and now Boater. I saw an ad for the Ninja. Isn't that something you like? I got you a sweatshirt.
I mean, Facebook is so full of ads, frankly, that they probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Facebook's so full of wish ads.
Wish ads are the greatest blessing in my life. Second greatest. Greatest blessing is upstairs. That was a close save. I might get hit in the next few minutes.
Can we by the way advocate Dan listen in here. I think as a company we should have every personality on Insane Games TV get $25 to spend on Wish, and have all of us do a massive opening of here's the stuff we ordered on Wish and here's what we got.
Wish hauls are a thing. Like, there's an artist that I follow on YouTube that has, ordered a bunch of art supplies on Wish and then done that as like a video, and I could see that being, something during a stream. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm all over. I don't know if there was much else. Here was another thing about to show just how little Microsoft cared about Mixer.
Yeah.
This was announced yesterday, June 22nd.
Mhm.
The service is getting shut down July 22nd. 30 days. Oh, and they didn't tell anybody. They didn't
told
tell some of
everybody
they
at
didn't
the
tell
exact
the
same
employees.
time.
They didn't tell the streamers. Like, a lot of streams on Mixer were like, oh shit, what do I do now? And like trying to have those real conversations with chat.
A lot of
like,
them were live when
yeah.
I found out.
Oh my god. Oh, could you imagine being live and enjoying doing your thing, and then someone being like, your livelihood's getting threatened, probably again because you're on Mixer.
Because you jumped from Twitch to Mixer like a stooge. And now, actually, Boater, we can take our cyberbullying to a new level, because we were making fun of people for jumping to Twitch to Mixer when Ninja switched over, and now we don't want you.
Yep.
The creative boat's fault. No, I'm kidding. Something I did find interesting.
That's the thing too. Like, okay, so I forget the circumstances, frankly, of Ninja leaving Twitch, but like,
it was very simple. Microsoft went,
here's
I'm
money.
gonna hand you a really big blank check, and you just just start crying when we want us to stop writing zeros.
I think that there's been a few people that have left Twitch for Mixer over terms of service issues.
Yes.
They won't last long on Facebook because of what we were saying earlier with more like Rigor Mortis's question that Facebook is going to be on top of that. Plus, could you see someone like Dr. Disrespect on Facebook Gaming?
Oh, Dr. Disrespect never left Twitch.
Right. I'm saying someone like that.
Oh, I could see him trying.
Fair.
So, Demon Dragon, didn't he get a buttload of money? He got a buttload of guaranteed money, which is what his original gripe was. I will say, write it down, 6/23/2020. This is going to be the second time I'm going to say something nice about Ninja, okay? Earlier episodes of Nerd Glasses is when I broke this first like of Ninja. He did do a lot for advocating for streamers as a paid entity, as opposed to independent contractors and this whole idea. So Ninja did do a lot of that to basically turn up his nose at Twitch to say, by the way, they're guaranteeing my money over here on Mixer so that if I feel sick, if I go to do a promotional tour for something I'm doing and I miss 4 days of streaming, if you make your
you're
living
not out 4 days of pay.
Yeah, if you miss 4 days of streaming and your livelihood is streaming, you are fucked. That's just you're screwed.
I imagine Ninja in particular has some savings built up, but yes, like your average day-to-day streamer relies on being able to go live to make money. And Twitch subscriptions are a thing that gets around that a bit. But I don't know, like some of, we'll say the medium-sized streamers, like how much of their income is subscriptions versus bits. Versus Patreon and other off-site things. Patreon is another site that some places have tried to compete with and can't because Patreon, again, has that discoverability and way to share communities between people.
Twitch also has, for the upper echelon channels, that ad revenue cut where if for just being live for 2 hours, and if you have 1,000 viewers, you're getting a sizable check for that day just because. Speaking of subscribing to channels, by the way, on Twitch this month, it's Pride Month. Any bits cheered over 300 and any subscriptions to, say, twitch.tv/boaterbug, twitch.tv/gam314, twitch.tv/insanegamestv_ will net you the subscriber bit cheerer and the people in the viewers, Boaterheads, Chevheads, Garnted Cult members, or Chevenites. Is that better? Chevlenites? No, Chevheads. We'll stick with but
I like Chevhead.
The other thing, by the way, is that Twitch is taking they're taking a percentage. It's not a great big percentage, but it's a part of their cut of the subs, and they're donating it to a LGBTQ plus organization, a reputable one. I did look that up because I was like,
good.
That seems like one of those donate back around and get it back to yourself things. And a racial advocacy forwarding of impoverished communities and things like that group evenly. They're each getting like 2% of same during this time. So if you choose to, it's going to good places and directly to your favorite streamers and networks. But by the way, if you ever subscribe here at Insane Games TV, I know that some of you are, and that's mwah. You too can give people the Mike Lips face and or the Dave Smile face. It's just me going, ha ha ha. I was told to smile in a picture, and I don't do that. And I don't know how.
You can see the fear radiating off of the hat.
Just the oh god, I have to show teeth.
Oh god, when I was young, I always hated it. Show your teeth. Like, now I've been doing stuff on camera for 8-something years. I can crack a natural smile at the drop of a hat. Like, I mean, that looked awful, but there.
You looked fine, Boater. Don't
It's
worry.
fine. It's fine.
I know what
If
you
you ever
guys
want
are
to see me
thinking.
trying to crack a natural smile and potentially failing, watch something where Dave is talking to the camera and saying something very important. Last week, Dave's amazing, pep talk that he gave to everyone, and here's me over like, I need to hydrate and I need to look like I'm being serious while not looking constipated. Dave, take it away.
Amen. Amen. By the way, I know what you guys are thinking. Well, Microsoft's jettisoning Mixer, the streaming part of Mixer. That's the interesting thing. They're keeping the Mixer name, and they're keeping the offices and heretofore and all that crap. They're just getting rid of the streamers and the part of that. What they're going to be probably switching the Mixer staff over to is something called Project X Cloud, which is
What?
they got into a very crowded pool for streaming, and now they're getting into an even more crowded pool for live services and video games. Like, it's going to be a disaster. And Project X Cloud, mark my words, this time next year will not exist.
It's another pet project that comes up and it's like, hey, we need some staff for this. Well, they're not gonna be doing anything. You want them? Sure.
The whole get of Project X Cloud is...
Yeah, make sure you say the full thing.
Oh yeah, because we're not talking Project X, the Tony Hawk game, which was okay, pretty good, but okay. Is the idea that if you tune in to Facebook gaming and you see someone playing Fortnite, or you see someone playing a recent Microsoft game, you know what you can do? You can click on that, and you'll automatically be playing that game too.
I'm sorry, that thing. Oh, that just playing the game. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's a thing that Steam has been doing for 10 years.
See?
And, joining that game.
See, that's the thing, though.
Hold on. Actually, before when I was saying,
Savannah.
games trying to enter a monopolized market, let's talk about the Epic Game Store for a second, because as much as it frustrates me, they're doing a really good job of cracking into that space. They are laying down the money to say we want to compete with Steam.
But not only are they laying down the money, they're getting some of it back with what they're doing in the promotions.
They're
putting the work in.
They're getting exclusives and timed exclusives. They're putting money into developers to get games to drive people to the store. Untitled Goose Game comes out on Steam in a couple months, but I think it's been on the Epic Game Store for PC since it released in September.
Mm-hmm.
They had a year of exclusivity. For Untitled Goose Game, which was, basically Game of the Year 2019.
Honk. It was so again, kudos to them for being able to do.
Sorry, this is the tired train of thought. I don't know where you were going, but that I just plucked out and had a thing.
That's totally fine, because the idea that the Epic Games Store is still here and viable is absolute insanity.
It's not surviving on it's not just your Fortnite launcher.
Yep.
It's doing a lot more.
It's insanity. The idea that they are a company that had never done anything like that, nothing on the platform, and they decided to face, and I will say, the single oldest and most successful model of something
of
that
PC
exists.
digital distribution. Yep. And I will say that GOG has been there and has kind of been like, oh yeah, that's everyone's backup when they're looking for certain games, and they have a launcher and it's fine. But Steam is the big one. And Epic just is kind of leapfrogging GOG, and they've set their sights on Steam and they're going for it.
I look forward to seeing also, because of Epic Game Store's partnering with companies or things like that, it has really forced Steam to take notice and to change some of their, I'm going to say iffy practices, but what it really was just not monitoring what was going on in the playpen over there. Um,
Yeah, well, as long as we're talking about being good curators, Steam hasn't been it. Something that happened in the past couple weeks was that games that were not successful, games that just maybe a few people had, um, were replaced by completely different games. Because like you can update your game on Steam and it downloads to people's hard drives and just goes live like that. But I forget exactly what the game was, but it was a game, and then people went to that game with that title. As long as you keep the title the same, it still has the same store page, everything like that. They got a completely different game. It was a adults game. It was
oh
an
God.
animation adults game.
Oh
Not the
God.
game that they had originally downloaded. Again, something that Steam that people were using as loopholes, and this wasn't the first time it had happened, and Steam has been slow to plug that. So, in order to beat Steam, Epic needs to do a few things, and that is get the exclusives, and keep that kind of shenanigans from happening. Do a good job of taking care of, let's say, like community reviews, which have been sticking points in Steam's past. Basically, look at every single scandal Steam has had and make their mission statement for how they can do it better. Do I remember the name of the game? I may try to look this up. Dave, if you had another point that you want to try to go for that. But I'm gonna try to look up what game that was. And I know why Demon Dragon's asking for the lulls, but I'm actually curious right now.
Well, I'm really curious about it. However, I will go into, you know what else people were getting kind of peeved about these days?
What's that?
GTA Online, and it's because
Oh boy.
for the second time in a row, GTA Online and Rockstar specifically decided that GTA Online should do the trolliest troll thing you can do to troll your player base, which is every so often games, especially that have live services or online things, will offer extra bonuses for playing a particular aspect of a game, be it a game mode, be it a particular map or things like that. Well,
Mhm.
GTA Online, again, it's the whole map, and there's all these missions. There's thousands of things going on. There's heists. There's just mass murders, lots of things. And they decided to incentivize people to, in a game where you can do everything, their week, like 3 times reward promotional thing where you're getting experience, money, which is very important to surviving in the madhouse, things of that, to parachute racing. Parachute racing. You
Okay.
heard me right. Grand Theft Auto Online, where they have stock car racing. They've got these ridiculous
Yeah.
things. But no, you can triple your fortunes and build so much more by participating in the oft ignored and wildly, well, actually there's actually quite a big player base that plays that, but just parachute racing.
Okay.
What? Butter, did you
I
find
don't.
that game?
I'm still looking for it, but I'm like, okay, so parachute racing, how? Like, I'm not.
So it's literally in previous video games, because I know there's at least one of our community that's not so much into the gaming part of video gaming. When you choose parachute racing, I did look this up, and I also
Yeah, so
did
like
one of them
parachute
once.
racing, do you mean that just like you dropped out of a plane and who can reach the ground the fastest? Because
It's
that is non-parachute racing.
yes and no. Some of it is get to the ground first, but a lot more of it is. Remember Superman 64?
Vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah, all those rings. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what you do in parachute
Okay.
racing. It's a course, but instead of you being able to fly it in a plane or drive through it, you're on a parachute so that if you do drop too far too quickly, you're pretty much screwed. But that's parachute racing. If you've watched past streams of mine where Vladdy and I played Steep, they also had parachute racing. And to be honest, it's funner than it sounds. And I know it sounds a lot like watching paint dry. It's honestly, it's not bad. Especially in the fact that in GTA Online, you may be able to have a parachute, then take out a gun, then cut the parachute, shoot somebody, and then put the parachute back on to keep going the race. I'm just
Uh-huh.
saying.
Okay,
Um,
okay. So a couple examples of the old switcheroo. One was the game Airball Drunks, which released in 2016. In
Okay.
March 2019, it was replaced with Penguin Cretins or Cretins,
Oh
which
God,
wasn't an
that.
update at all. It was an entirely different game. Following pressure, this from Kotaku, following pressure from Steam users who noticed the switch and complained, the developers reverted the game this past weekend back to Airball, saying, "This is an early version of the game that is changing during development, but as we see, people who bought Airball do not need any penguins, so we're returning the old name and version of the game," which is horseshit. Um, the other example was a game called Tales of Fortune, which was a pirate action game, which was replaced with an adults-only hentai game that has kept the same name but absolutely nothing else. That said, as of this
Oh.
moment, the community page was still live, but the store page was down. So sorry, Demon Dragon. Happy hunting.
Um, it, there are certain unspoken things, which is that I, as a console gamer, am very fortunate where no matter what, I buy this from the store, such as Insane Games in the Wilton Mall, and I get this game. I get to play this game as much as I would like, or
Yep.
as little as I would like. But when you're buying games digitally, there is the reality that the
That it
company
could go away. Yeah. That I mean,
like.
PlayStation's gonna be around for a while, but if you get a digital PS5, ask people with PT how that could potentially work out for you. Yeah, like PC gaming used to be the same thing. You buy a game, you own the game. The game is on the disc. It's fine. That's a
Mm.
replacement disc because mine got cracked. But
Oh.
even now, like if you get a disc, it's no guarantee. When we got this, you still actually ended up basically downloading. That's washed out. You still basically ended up downloading the entire game. A friend got me Star Wars Battlefront 2 a couple years ago, and it was entirely just there wasn't a disc in there. There was codes to download it.
I think that's the worst part of all this when you buy a game and you open and it's in a box. And so I go to the counter and I derp my way over and I plunk it
Mhm.
down and Mike then scans it and he tells me to get the fuck out of the store and then I run and I open up it up and there's just a digital code. Like, I want the physical disc. I want to be able to hold my copy of Overwatch and be able to. Where's my copy of Overwatch? Savannah, where is Overwatch?
Dave,
I'll get to her later.
I have good news for you. While you try to find your copy of Overwatch, there was a
Yes.
game that came out today. Actually, probably not a physical copy. So it's probably still a digital download. But that being said, you no longer have to jump through hoops to play Star Wars Racer. It came out on PS4 and Nintendo Switch today. I'm
Get
probably
it?
gonna get that on our Switch. I don't know. Like I have my PC copy here, and like you'd be getting the full PC version of the game, which was the superior version of the game, best graphics, audio, everything like that. I don't. It's not an HD re-release or anything. They're just re-releasing the PC version of the game. But still, you can play Star Wars Racer. Frankly, that I'm so happy with Star Wars Squadrons, which might get pushed back a little more. I don't know. Oh gosh, Dave, I really want to talk Star Wars Squadrons, but oh my God, that would be such a good way to play Racer with the Joy-Cons. Um, but like,
Sorry.
now that we're getting, the Star Wars Starfighter sim that we've always wanted, I want Racer to be remastered. um,
Voters say the line.
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah.
There is a video clip of me on my honeymoon where I found a Star Wars Racer cabinet that you sit down in and you have the handles like that in an arcade. It's on my honeymoon, and I was playing it, and I yelled, "Now this is pod racing," to Steph holding the phone.
So what you're saying is that
I'm a
you went on
massive
a
fucking
honeymoon.
nerd, yes.
No. You went on a honeymoon and you did exactly what the stereotypical male does, which is, well, I played golf on our honeymoon. It was great.
We went
But instead
to
of golf, you
this
played
was in
Tiger.
Niagara Falls. We did dinner in the Skylon Tower, but there was a small arcade at the base of that. So, in the building itself. So yes, Star Wars Racing for Oculus.
Oh God. There's a certain amount of things that I want to do in life. Throw up all over Boater's house is not one of those things.
Thank you. I in my house appreciate it.
Although Ronan and Katusha would be pretty amused.
They might try to clean it up, and I
Yay,
would
we're
appreciate
having
you
a party.
not giving them the option to do so. Dave, you gave me a video clip for an announcement, but I actually, I'm not going to be doing the Citadel tonight, so I think similar to what we did last week, we're going to go a little long on this. So I want to cover Star Wars Squadrons, which we pushed off last week.
Perfect.
So let me bring up the video because I had almost forgotten that this was a thing, and I was like, oh wait, I really want to talk about this. So let's see here. Official gameplay trailer we'll bring up over here. Make sure that's muted. And yes, great, cool. Play. Do the thing. All right. Okay, so Dave, did you ever play? First off, have you played any space sim? Whether it was X-Wing, TIE Fighter, X-Wing Alliance, anything like that?
Yes. Yeah, I actually did play TIE Fighter, surprisingly.
Okay.
So yes.
Yeah, like I played TIE Fighter back in '93 when it came out, and it was great. It doesn't work on current systems. I got it to work on Windows 7, but like it didn't read the joystick right. It was bad. And so, like, every now and then, people are like, we really want something like that. I want to hop in an X-Wing, or I want to hop in a TIE Interceptor, and go for it. And announced, this was announced a couple weeks ago, but the official trailer for it came out last Monday, and the gameplay trailer, which we're watching right now, came out this past Friday. It looks really good. Dave, I am so excited for this game. Now, first off,
I'm watching the trailer on my phone, by the way, for those of you watching.
Okay, we're gonna lead off with I'm sorry, Dan. The game is going to be $39.99.
Oh, well, we now know, not a real game.
Okay, and we can move forward under the auspices of Dan considering it to be not a real game. Is the video is not muted? I'm fine keeping it at a background level, but if it's too loud, let me know and I'll turn it back down. More or less, they're talking and hearing stuff too. Oh, look, Hera. But yeah, like the game looks really good. Like first off, it looks like a real dedicated single-player game. It's not a multiplayer game with some single-player tacked on. I'm gonna, on a scale of all multiplayer at 1, all single-player at 10. Something like Battlefront 2 was probably like a 4, where they had a single-player campaign. It was a pretty good single-player campaign, but it was so short that it was obviously built in on top of the multiplayer game. We'll put that at a 4. This looks to be more like a 5 or a 6. It looks like a really in-depth single-player game, and a lot of this stuff that we're seeing is advertising the single-player. But again, it is multiplayer as well, both for dogfight as well as an objective-based game. There are 4 different classes of fighters for each side on release. And so it could be a little bit like a MOBA in that here's an objective-based thing and you need to have a balanced team. There could be a meta where, oh, well, you should have 1 support staff, 2 interceptors, a bomber and a fighter. Kind of thing. So, like, that could evolve as well. I'm just, oh my god, Dave, I am so excited for, like, looking at the trailer, you could see Wedge, and here you see Hera, who is someone from Star Wars Rebels.
Boater, I need to just, who currently holds the video game licensing for, Star Wars?
EA holds the exclusive video game license for Star Wars.
Okay, and can you tell me an EA game that follow the light, please? And can you tell me an EA game that was good? That was Star Wars.
Battlefront 2 was a worthwhile campaign, and I enjoyed my time playing it. That said, the game install was so friggin' bloated, and the campaign was so short that it was fine. If I was to get it again, I would possibly want to get it on like Xbox or something just to play through the third-person shooter campaign and the kind of half-assed fighter controls that it does.
As much as I really
Its multiplayer is awful
really,
though. Oh my god. I
really,
did.
really want this game to be good.
A friend brought me into multiplayer of Battlefront 2, and it was so punishing to me because I hadn't been playing the game. People were had so much stuff from loot boxes that I just couldn't be classed to. I was outclassed. I couldn't be classed to do it. I was outclassed. This game does not have loot. Oh, it does not have purchasable loot boxes. It says that you can get all of the upgrades and such that you can do to your fighters just by playing the game. Now, does that mean that when you hit milestones, achievements, whatever, that you get stuff? You get things for completing your story missions, and you get other stuff for having gotten 50 kills on a TIE Interceptor? Or does it mean, you play and you get some space bucks that you can then spend on boxes? That hasn't been confirmed one way or the other.
But Boater, let's remember. And then the EA logo played over top of the game. Of course there's going to be microtransactions. And of course there's going to be so many things.
I think Daddy Disney smacked them so hard after Battlefront 2's microtransactions that they wouldn't dream of doing it with Star Wars again. Not that they won't do it with other IPs after that, but they're going to hold off for a little bit on doing it with Star Wars.
EA Sports, it's in the microtransactions. E. I am very, very worried about that EA logo being on it. However, I will share in the unmitigated and unending amount of squee that comes along with the idea that I will finally be able to fly my Y-Wing bomber over near a Star Destroyer and look out onto the deck and just go on my way to dropping all them bombs. I cannot wait.
Motive, EA Motive is the developer within EA that did this. They developed the single player of Battlefront 2, and that's it. This is their second project for EA Motive, which is based in Montreal.
Now, I will say, did you play the single player in Battlefront 2?
Yes, I did. And again, like I said, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the single player. It's a little too doing the thing that Assassin's Creed does, which is look at all the famous people that you run into, like Small Galaxy kind of thing. But to be fair, I was the other night having a nostalgia watch of Rebel Assault 2. And the first Rebel Assault was so bad for do all the things that happen in the movies that a lot of other stuff gets a pass. Also, like, again, I nostalgia watched all the cutscenes for Rebel Assault 2. That's some bad acting. There's some really dodgy gameplay stuff. It's oof. We've come a long way in Star Wars games. Even when we look back at like TIE Fighter, and some of that is like, my imagination's doing a lot of work here.
Did you ever play the original Star Wars arcade cabinet?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you know what? I will say, somehow TIE Fighter, although graphically infinitely ahead of it, it's a step down. Like,
well,
that game.
It's that thing of going from 2D to 3D. Mm-hmm. Where like if you look at the fidelity of 2D sprite graphics and some of the late 90s Mario 2D stuff, and then you look at Mario 64. Bad example because Mario translates pretty decently to really blocky polygons, but like other stuff didn't. Yikes.
I'm once again going to continue to remind myself it's an EA game, but I'll continue
It's
to also
also a
remind myself.
$39.99 game, so it's not going to be a game that EA is putting at the top of their mast and flying the flag with it. Like, Star Wars is happy to advertise it because we get like a Star Wars game every 2 years because of EA's exclusivity. But EA isn't probably going to be expecting huge things from a space sim. I love space sims, but it's underserved, but also underplayed.
I'm just saying I'm gonna feel really good one of these days when you're playing this game, because it's gonna be fun to play, and you're gonna be playing, and I'm gonna be standing behind you as you leaf through the store where it's gonna say, would you like to buy this skin for your X-Wing? Would you like to buy this skin for your TIE Fighter? And I'm going to be standing behind you going, ooh, it's an EA game. Ooh.
Okay, Dave. So that's Star Wars Squadrons. I'm really excited for it. Considering the entire lack of chat, I guess no one in chat was excited for it. And so we need to go on to another game announcement. Dave, do you want to take this one away for us as I bring up the big red Nintendo Switch screen?
Well, let me ask you, Boater, when was the last time, I can't think of the last time that I was able to go out with my camera and my Pokeballs and some apples, thousands and thousands and thousands of apples, and just get some damn good pictures of some wild Pokemon. But now, fair friends, that reality is coming to us when I don't know.
It's interesting to think of because like Nintendo has been pretty consistent with their games of like bringing out at least one per generation, like Zelda, Mario, their Pokemon games for handheld, for that matter, like Arena and such, have been somewhat regularly coming out. Pokemon Snap came out for the N64. I don't know the year of its release. It was probably 20 years ago. For the N64? No, I'm sorry. The GameCube was the current generation. Oh, maybe 2001 for the GameCube. And we'll say 20. We'll say 20 years ago for the N64.
Probably.
Yeah, and now it is coming out for the Nintendo Switch. Dave, do you have some deets for us while I figure out how to try to get this to loop because it's only a 1-minute trailer?
The problem is that Nintendo really hasn't given any details. Nintendo just wants you to know that please stop blowing up our Twitter. This is Nintendo. Please stop blowing up our Twitter. We'll make another Pokemon Snap game, okay? We're not putting Pokemon Snap from the N64 onto the systems just now because we're making a new one.
Yeah.
They do want that hype, and it's deserved because
also, again, Nintendo releases this 1-minute thing and says, Pokemon Snap. You nerds don't have questions. You're just happy for Pokemon Snap.
Yes. And the other half is that, let's be entirely honest, Nintendo did the exact same thing with the most recent Legend of Zelda game. Yep. They did it with the most recent Animal Crossing game. They did it with Super Mario Odyssey, which kind of a miss to me. It's fun, but it's not, Boater, do you have Super Mario Odyssey?
I think we do. Oh, I haven't played it. I think Steph played it.
Demon Dragon, do you have Super Mario Odyssey? Because I'm gonna poll everybody here. I think out of the probably 10 people that are directly related to this program that have Switches, maybe 2 have it. Oh, Demon Dragon does, so that's 2. Nintendo always does a really good job of letting you know this is in the pipe.
Yep.
Here's what's going on with it.
And trust us. We're Nintendo. Trust us. And everyone's like, oh my god, I trust you. And usually that ends up panning out just fine.
Yeah, they haven't. They haven't.
Whereas EA with a Star Wars game can't say, trust us. No, we need to hear more. So 4 days later, they came out with the 5-minute, 6-minute gameplay trailer. No, Nintendo can just release 1 minute of Pokemon doodling around and Pikachu holding an apple and a camera interface. And
just
say
not
trust
even
us.
like none of it is gameplay, by the way.
Nope.
It's all panning around, pre-created.
Well, okay, yeah.
The good thing,
here's gameplay right now. But
the good thing about
supposedly
Pokemon
gameplay.
Snap, especially for us with Switches, is the fact that because Pokemon Snap, for those of you who didn't play it on N64, it was essentially a rail shooter.
Uh-huh.
What that means, for those of you who don't know what that term is, it means that there is a track a course your character is going to take on the map. Every time you play that level, it's the exact same course, the exact same creatures appear at the exact same triggers, and you affect how those triggers enact. You could push Pokemon into things and cause them to evolve, or display food and get a Pikachu to follow you all the way through the map and then shock something. There's many things you can do in a rail shooter to affect how it's played, but because they remove the idea that you then have to move the control, I have a feeling that it's going to use the fact that the Switch can do this.
Yeah, so like if you have it in handheld, straight up it's gonna be your viewfinder. That would be really cool. And especially, if you can get into just the middle of, your room and have full 360-degree movement to look around behind you.
Savannah, I bet you can't wait
Then you
for
hit
you
that
and
right
me
bumper. Oh yeah, I just
to
realized
have-
I never got around to putting up my backdrop. That's how tired I am tonight. Here we are, an hour into the program, and I'm like, oh yeah, y'all can see my basement. But no, yeah, you move around and you hit the R, I guess. I'm trying to think of terms. I'm like, no, it's not R1. That's PlayStation. It's not right trigger. You just hit R as your shutter.
L and Z, LZ and RZ.
Yeah.
L and R and RZ, and the sticks.
Or sticks.
This is going to be a really good game for the Switch. It's going to be wonderful, and it'll honor my heritage of the Wii U. Proud as I am of my heritage, and I can't wait for that game. Just as I'm very excited for the next Star Wars game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited for Pokemon Snap. There's a couple other ones in the pipe, Boater.
Yeah.
Coming out, and they're quick stories, so don't worry. But when big companies file for
Trademarks?
registration domain names, you kind of get an idea for where they're going.
Yeah.
And the domain registrations filed by Rocksteady were Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League.com, GothamKnightsGame.com, and SuicideSquadGame.com.
Okay.
They have not confirmed any of these things, but
yeah, but it's still like they want to register the website so that nobody can snag it out from under them.
Yes, which is
it's
very
standard
smart, by the way.
practice, but it does mean that there's the potential for leaks there.
DC is holding a digital event called DC Fandom on August 22nd, where WB Games, which Rocksteady is under the umbrella of because WB has maintained the Batman IP.
Yep.
And we'll get confirmation, but there have been leaks in the past that Suicide Squad, probably the movie version, but an adjusted cast, will get their own representation, and the very famous Batman storyline, Court of Owls, will probably be the storyline that is represented in Gotham Knights, which is also the name of the more recent Batman run.
Gotcha.
It'll be really cool. But the other good thing is he's brown, he's fuzzy, and his friend flies around. no, it's not me and Boater when I've had energy drinks. It's Crash Bandicoot, and he's getting a 4th installment for the next gen consoles, and it's coming out October 2nd.
I feel like we talked about this one already because I saw a
Really?
yeah, because I remember talking about how I saw a video where the developers of Crash used exploits in the PS1 to like access memory that they weren't supposed to be able to access.
That was for the remaster of the first 3 Crash games.
Oh, okay. So there's a remaster coming out, and there's a separate fourth game. Okay, cool.
Remasters already out.
Cool. So there's remasters that are out, and we're gonna be getting a 4th game now. Like, hey, cool. You getting those? You playing those? You're having a good time? Do you wanna see what happens next? Boy, howdy do I? I don't know what that voice was. Please don't ask.
Speaking of boy howdy do I, Earth Defense Force 6, I know. Collectively, we can all crap our pants
I
later.
just heard my boy howdy do I coming from upstairs. That was the weirdest fucking thing. Oh god.
Hold your collective breath, ladies and gentlemen, because it was confirmed. Earth Defense Force is getting a 6th installment, and those big old nasty bugs
Dave, that was a 404.
are coming back. What's that?
You sent us a 404.
Did I?
Yup.
Oh. That's so sad. Oh, well. Earth Defense Force 6. Search it up. It's coming in 2021. The Earth Defense Force 6 website is coming up. 5 is so much fun.
Do that thing except without the 3 that he added at the end.
Ah, I added it with my toe.
Good
Because
job.
the keyboard's down here and I have a cat now.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of games that are coming out, anytime I have an idea, I make sure that I gild the idea and I get it really, really well thought out. I have it on paper. I get visuals. I make a PowerPoint, and then I bring it to Dan. My time investment in that idea is usually, a couple days. Or when I'm really excited, I just burst into his back office and at him. But never have I ever. Actually, Boater, let's play Never Have I Ever. Never have I ever spent $1 million on a preview for a game to try to get it greenlit.
I can say that is something that I have never done.
Nobody? Nobody else? Okay. Nope. Stalwart Traveler's Tales. Let's put that hand back up there, pal.
Traveler's Tales, you mean the ones that like overpaid for licenses for their Lego games?
Mm-hmm. They spent $1 million and a good amount of company time trying to make a game series that went from The Hobbit all the way to The Return of the King.
Okay.
The problem is and I personally would have loved it, because remember when we were younger and they would release a game based upon a movie or a book and it would play like an adaptation of the movie or the book?
Yeah.
That's what that was going to be. It was going to be an honest visual retelling of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings series. And
that style of adaptation has fallen out of favor. Like when you talk about the Star Wars arcade cabinet, or like I'm thinking Return of the Jedi on Super Nintendo, like playing through just what the movie did without adding anything fresh has fallen out of favor. Now people are looking for adjacent things like Battlefront 2 telling its own story that happens to dovetail into the sequel trilogy a bit.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, PS2 LOTR 2 Towers was the best movie game.
The medium peaked, and we no longer need any after that. Was that before or after Spider-Man 2?
It was right around the time of, actually.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It was peak gaming.
Golden age of movie adaptations, and then it was just like, all right, cool. We want just give us original stories now within the IP.
Yeah, thank God we got Shark Tales in, because I think I would have lost it if I wasn't able to play.
Like Jedi Fallen Order tells its own thing, but as I'm watching through Star Wars Rebels, I'm like, wow, there's a lot from that's in here. So, tie it into the other things that I like. Maybe go, oh, I recognize that, but don't just have me play the same thing that I've already watched because I could watch that a lot quicker than playing this. That
That's
is a lot
actually
cheaper.
the reason the game didn't get picked up.
Is it?
A lot of people liked it. Um,
I could see it being something that would go to feature bloat so bad. Like, it's either not going to be in depth enough to really matter with, because if you just watch the Hobbit trilogy, not extended editions, it's already too long. So let's just say that, plus the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You're still looking at close to like 20 hours, which is decent for single player gameplay. Certainly, if it's not open world, that's good sized. But why make it a video game if you're just going to go along at the same pace? You're going to be spending longer on things. It would be something that would be so long. They would add so many features to it. It would just be. I think that whoever gave them the red light on that looked at that and said, no, you would spend too long on that. You would spend too much money. We would only get something half baked out of it. No, I like what you're thinking, but it's not actually going to happen. Hey, Antiklaus, welcome to the program.
you know what? Speaking of the program, Boater, unfortunately, it looks like we're gonna have to rebook Death Stranding for next week.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I'm not going to be doing the Citadel after this, but I'm just too tired. I'm falling asleep, and Death Stranding deserves a good, full, alert discussion.
oh yeah, oh yeah. It'll. Now put the chair down. We'll rebook you. Your flight is comped. Your parking's not though. That you're gonna have to pay. Sorry, Death Stranding. Um, I know, Savannah. You were so excited to talk about Norman Reedus's butt cheeks. Um,
Who wouldn't be?
but that game goes well out of its way to show those a lot. Um, but I don't want to spoil anything, so we'll save that for next week. Um, until then, this has been the Nerd Glasses on Insane Games TV.
Absolutely.
Um,
This we talked a lot on Insane Games TV, on Twitch, and on Facebook Gaming, and on YouTube, not on Mixer. We spent a lot of
and
time talking about the downfall of Mixer today, and I think it was worth talking about both as like, hey, here's news happening, as well as just reflections of other stuff happening in the tech world. And then we talked about Star Wars Squadrons. We talked about a little bit about Pokemon Snap and a few other games that are coming out soon. And there was another discussion in there too, but I also forgot that one already. But that's what the VOD is for. God, I need bed.
so,
I need
ladies and
I need
gentlemen,
to reapply aloe on my sunburns and then go to bed. So
Stream Elements has dropped a link in chat. If you are ever interested during one of these programs, please feel free to purchase yourself a very nice Insane Games TV merch, perhaps a hoodie. Third winter is coming to upstate New York. But
maybe hold off on the hoodie, but the t-shirts are nice. I like my Citadel t-shirt.
make sure to hit that follow button. Make sure to follow at our
Various
other
social
yes,
media.
this episode. I know, Auntie, you have unfortunately joined us here at the Kurt Tail, but I know you're thinking, man, I really want to hear them, Boater and Dave, hot takes. Well, don't worry, because every week after the show finishes going live, it is then posted to our YouTube channel under the same name.
Yep.
So definitely make sure to check that out and the other fantastical podcasts on Insane Games TV. A follow here is a follow for more than just one program.
Yep. So give us a follow. It's around down here somewhere, or if you still have the old layout, it's still up there, but it's gonna be down here. Yeah, give us a follow, and there's a plenty of really cool shows coming up tomorrow, including but certainly not limited to the Weekend Wednesday, and for the rest of the week. So thank you, everybody, so much for joining us tonight. It's been a wonderful night. That which I remember through my sleepy haze. I am off to Sleepy Time Junction, and I will see some of you later in the week. Have a great night, everybody! Oh, Savannah.